Hey, you guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I wanted to share this topic because it was on my heart to share, and I wanted to share it before I got going in my day. So, if you're meeting me for the very first time, my name is Tracie Collins, and here is where I talk all things, seems like Mexico, but all things Mexico, my life, and business strategy. And I help executives build their infrastructure to create successful businesses of their own and to help them transition abroad and bring their businesses with them. I do many more things outside of that, mostly creative. But today I really wanted to talk to you guys about how leaving the United States has saved my life. And I wrote some points down, but this is just me operating in all transparency. So if you are interested and if you are appreciative of the content that I put out, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We always have to say that on YouTube, just as a reminder. And I love when Stephanie Perry says, like, I'll wait so you can like, share, and subscribe. So please do that. So I'm having my morning cup of coffee, and I was reflecting on a video that I watched yesterday on the Exodus Summit, and Rashida shared something that was really poignant. She said one of her clients, her coaching clients, doctors told her she didn't leave her job, it was going to kill her. And it really spoke to me because I knew before I left the United States that, I don't know why all of a sudden my nose is running. Um, if I did not leave the United States, that it was going to kill me. And I just turned 48. Excuse me, y'all. I just turned 48. And my journey abroad took about from May 2022, and then we finally exited in August 2023. So that was the time frame. We took our scouting trips, which was probably about 4 scouting trips, mostly in Mexico, just different parts of the country. One was in Costa Rica, and packing up, selling our home, and all of the things. But what was happening to me during that time really escalated. And just to give you a little bit of context, I have been in the health and wellness field for over 20 years, like 23 years actually. And I have supported women having babies and just in their reproductive health and space. So I'm a wellness expert. But in being a wellness expert for people with uteruses and having worked with vaginas my entire adult life, I also created one of the number one companies in my industry in the world. And with that came a great deal of responsibility. And I'm going to share just the decline of my mental health from May of 2022 into August of this year before we left. And how leaving the US, even in this short amount of time, and if you're watching this in the future, this is being recorded in November of 2023. So I'm newly exited out of the United States. But even in this time period, this short time frame, I've learned so much and my life has changed so much and I feel so much better. So I knew that if I didn't leave the US, it was going to kill me the way that my life was going. On the outside, I had all of the things. I had the big fancy house, I had the big fancy box car, um, our marriage, it was good, and it still is good, thank God. Um, Healthy, thank goodness for health, but my mental wellness was suffering. I was carrying so much on my shoulders. Not only was I carrying my company, um, just being a woman, a Black woman in the United States, and family, all of the things I was carrying on my shoulders. And I'm a very creative person. Like, I've always been creative since the age of, since I was born. The arts, creativity, acting, singing, writing, producing, like that is the thing that I'm always fueled by is creativity and being innovative. And I got to the point where I couldn't think. I got to the point where I couldn't think, I couldn't create, I was no longer innovative. And I have my notes over here, you guys, but my creativity was stifled. It was like, I cannot think anymore. I can't think. Only thing that I could think about was something has got to change and it's got to be drastic. And I'm not saying that leaving the United States is the answer for everybody, but the way that my life was set up and we are told to set our life up and told to achieve, it was definitely the equation for me. And fortunately, I'm married to somebody who loves me enough to take the risk with me. And that was not their initial plan or intention ever in life. So when I started realizing I couldn't think, that means I could not. It's like my ability to even, when you are an entrepreneur, when you can't think, that means you can't make money, right? Or it becomes limited and stifled in some capacity. So I was suffering from that. Um, and in my suffering, I felt like I was suffocating because everything was on me. It was the pressure to always show up. And regardless of what I was experiencing from, my work field, and my work was centered around it was really centered around death. It was centered around the Black maternal death rate in the United States and the disparities that Black women face in the healthcare system and trying to right that wrong. Um, so everything that came across my desk was, Tracie, fix this. How can you and your company be a part of this? Or how could can we pick your brain, which is a pet peeve of mine. When people ask if they can pick my brain, because everything that I've experienced has come at a cost. So now when you ask to pick my brain, you want to do it for free. And so there was a lot of, can you show up for this? Can you answer to this? Can you sit on this board? And people would pray to have that problem. But when you have the pressures of that and it's nothing positive, it's nothing positive that is coming across your desk, and then compounded with another Black woman is dying or another Black woman has died from something that was preventable, and it was negligence in the healthcare system. Then you have the pressure of pay this, do this, this is due when, this is how much, this is being compounded, this is, all of the costs that were associated just with everyday life that everybody else is experiencing. So it's like I was suffocating. I couldn't breathe. Um, and being in a role in leadership, I was always having to show up in my masculine energy. I'm a Libra, y'all. I am a Libra, and I am operated and ruled in Venus. And having to always show up in my masculine energy, always having to make decisions, and being the person who has to factor in every equation and showing up in a leadership role, I got tired of it. I just got tired of it. I do not and did not want to operate in the masculine energy anymore. And I watch these people on social media, Black women in particular, who are, leaders and running their companies, and they're having to, operate always in an executive capacity. It's like, and I question like their wellness. Like, I'm a wellness expert, and being a wellness expert, my brain is trained to look at you as a whole person. I don't just see what you're producing or what you're putting out into the world. I'm looking at, how are you mentally? How are you emotionally? How are you financially? How are you spiritually? I'm looking at all of you, and I often question how happy they are. So I knew at that point I did not want to operate in my masculine energy anymore. I wanted to be softer. And that's still a struggle. It's so much of a struggle for me because, I may be a Libra rising, but like I'm also a Leo in there. So there's leadership in me. Y'all have to forgive me. Like I think it's a Libra rising, Leo something. No, Libra sun, Leo rising, Aries. I think it's an Aries moon. But anyway, I digress. So, wanting to operate my feminine energy, I wanted to be softer. I wanted to not be in charge. I wanted to not make decisions. I wanted things to not always be on my shoulders. I did not want to always be the go-to person. And even in my family role, like I'm considered the matriarch of my family, and my mom may be watching this. And my mom is still here. Thank goodness she's still here with me. But having to make, you know, like family decisions, and like my mom is here, my aunt is here, but I'm the oldest grandchild. So, and I'm my parents' oldest child. And so now I'm like considered the matriarch of my family. Where did this come from? Why? And I understand like my personality type, and I understand um, I understand how I think differently and how I move differently. I get all of that. But I was like, I wasn't ready to assume that role. I'm not ready for that. So that was like, I don't want to operate in that matriarchal, that leadership role. I want to be soft. I've been a mom since I got pregnant with my oldest child at 16 years old. So I've always had other people to take care of. I want to take care of me. Like, I want to pour into me. Like, I don't want to lead. I want to heal me. I want to follow other, people who are doing amazing things and listen and sit at their feet and learn from them. I don't want to be the answer. I want to be the one taking the notes. I want to be the one asking the questions. I want to be the one listening. I want to be the student. And so that part was a big, like, good leaders are also good followers. And I want to be in that role of following right now. I don't want to be the answer. So, and then the food, you guys. I'm a foodie. Like, I love food. Like, I'm a person who, like, I travel for food. I love food. That's also part of the reason why I moved to Mexico. But the food in the United States, I don't care how healthy it is killing you. It was killing us. I don't care if you eat an apple. How is it grown? What soil is it coming from? How healthy is the tree? How healthy are the roots of the tree? What pesticides are being sprayed on there? And like, I want to eat food that the bees want. If the bees don't want it, or the flies don't want it, I don't want it either. That means it's not good for you. And that sounds creepy and funny, but honestly, it's true. It's like, if you pay attention to like bees and around food, it's like that's the good stuff. And so it was really hard for me with inflation and seeing the cost that we were paying for groceries, and then to see that we're paying this much for them to kill us, and the options that we have to source these food outside of growing it ourselves is very limited. And now they're putting sanctions on that too. So I was like, I started to hate going grocery shopping. And Honey could attest to this. Like, she goes grocery shopping. She loves grocery shopping. And I started to, like, I would hate it. It's like, I don't want to go. And it had a lot to do with, why am I paying for something that is killing me? Like, knowingly killing me. Time. I'm a person who is very cognizant of time. We never know how much time we have here on earth. So I definitely believe in making the best of the time that we have. What is the impact that we are making? What's our contribution if we choose to contribute, right? But my time was spent working. My time was spent like mentally just being taxed all the time. So by the time I stopped working, and I worked from home, but by the time I stopped working, then I'm mentally just drained. Like I could never show up. I was always tired because I'm mentally drained. So it's not that my body was physically tired. My mental capacity was exacerbated because of what, how much time that I would spend dedicated to the cause, whatever that meant. And so um, now here, like I'm able to spend time with my daughter, who's, Mahogany, who's with us. She's 19. And I'm able to spend more time with Honey. We're outside, we're taking walks. I can literally stop and smell the flowers. I can literally look up and appreciate the different scenery, the architecture. I can breathe clean air. um, I can stop and I can appreciate what I'm experiencing in the moment. And sometimes like Tracie, you should be creating content. But honestly, y'all, I'd be like caught up in the moment and I'd be forgetting to create content because I'd be so caught up living and just like in awe of what I'm seeing and experiencing. Um, Another thing was like the stress of always having, and I probably already alluded to this, but the stress of always having to constantly produce. So the way that the US is set up from a capitalist society, and I had a great conversation yesterday with my cousin, and we were talking about people are starting to realize capitalism and the way the infrastructure is set up in the United States. And not saying that, there is no such thing as a utopia, but the way that the system is set up to constantly produce and to constantly prove and to constantly attain and to constantly gain is not serving of you as a human being. And people are waking up to that factor. They're like, we're not doing this. This isn't working. This is killing us. And so I got so tired of like having to feel like, oh my God, I got to learn something new. I got to get this under my belt, so they'll believe and know. And it's like, why? Why do I have to prove anymore? Why? And I started to tell people, if I don't do anything else, I've already done enough. And it's like I got tired of showing up as that. And so what I started to do is I started to let go of responsibilities. I started to significantly and drastically reduce my overhead or our overhead. Alleviating debt. I started to let go of roles. I started to let go of people's expectations of me and put that back on them. I stopped being the answer, and I put everything back on those who were asking of me. It was like, figure it out. Figure it out. I'm not going to be here to answer that for you. So I started to let go of like the pressure to always produce. And I've been meaning to talk about this part for a minute. Like I moved to Atlanta in 2016. And, being from Oakland, like we didn't have a lot of things to do in Oakland. Not a lot of places to go, but my community, we always had each other. It didn't matter like if we fussed or fought, Sean, Leonard, Tanya, Sammy, Bird. And if y'all are watching this, I love you dearly. But we always had each other. You know what I'm saying? And so we would go to each other's homes. Most of the time they would come to my house now that I think about it. Sometimes we would go to Sean's house. Or we would hang out or something to that capacity. And when I moved to Atlanta, I realized that, and it took me a minute, but the authenticity of genuine connection was significantly lacking. And the relationships that I thought I had cultivated with people were superficial to them. And in Atlanta, there's a ton of things to do. And on the outside, it looks like, oh, that's the place to be. And it probably at one point was. And Atlanta did give me the opportunity to, we bought our first home there, and um, we bought our first home there, and I met Honey there and got married there, all of that. But then I noticed that the relationships that I desired to have with Black women, just, from a sisterhood perspective, was bullshit. And it taught me that people didn't value authentic connection. People didn't show up the way that I showed up for them. Friendships were ghosts. It was just weird. And I really missed the authentic connections that I had in Oakland, because it didn't matter if we had any place to go, we had each other. And Atlanta was the total opposite. So in moving abroad, I prayed for community before, but now, like, I actually have community, and my community is Black women. My community is beyond that. My community is the locals who are Mexican. My community is people who just want to genuinely see us happy and thriving, and can offer information to help make things better, our transition be easier. Like, it's like real connection. And it's not about what you have or what you are gaining or what you're achieving or what you got on or what bag you got. It's really about, are you happy? Let's just go hang out and have cafe, or like, I have a friend here in San Miguel who, he was my first friend here, and we were connected by somebody that we met in Mexico City. And he's like, I'm, hosting this week at a restaurant. You guys should come. And it's like that kind of thing. It's like, just, and he has been such a tremendous help since, being here. And he's 29 years old, so it's like that kind of stuff. Just like the sense of community is just amazing to me. And I'm so appreciative, and I can almost get choked up, and I'm not even a crier, because like, that was one of the things that I had prayed for, was like, I want community. I want authentic connection. Like, we have a social life. Like, we have people who want to hang out with us. Like, my WhatsApp is what's happened. Like, it's like, what you doing? Let's get together. Let's just get to know each other. And these are married people, single people, young people, straight people, gay folk. It's just everybody. So it's really what's happened. So, like, I'm excited about that. Let me see. The ability to discover new things and people and culture and language and just scenery and places. Like, before, it was really, my life was about just showing up to work. And just once I was done, I needed to just rest because I'm tired. My brain couldn't even just operate. Now it's like, what you doing today? Taking the time to just get up and move slowly, and not having the responsibility of checking in or checking in at a certain time. That's such a wonderful feeling. Like, I decided to stay in bed till 8 o'clock this morning. Before, I was up early, and I'm a big advocate of getting up early. Like, I love being up early, but not anymore. I move slower. And another way that my life has changed was not, I'm recording a live. You don't want to be on camera. So I'll let you know when I'm done. Nope, it's the camera. It's gonna move when you come. So another thing is, I let go of toxic information. Toxic information is, in the US, you're constantly, even if you try not to be, inundated with it. And so I did a video yesterday on social media, or I think I posted on Instagram and TikTok, and I talked about letting go of, like, filtering my social media. And like I started just like senseless blogs and vlogs that are talking about just gossiping. I stopped watching the news a long time ago, but it's like I don't have that anymore. Like I'm so intentional, and I have been, but I'm even more intentional about the information that I take in, because sometimes things could be subconscious. You know what I'm saying? We just get so numb and so desensitized to information and things that are being thrown at us that it's become normalized, but not understanding that it is abnormal to be inundated with death and destruction. And so I wanted my feed to be aspiring and things that make me happy and bring me joy. And so I spent probably the last month unfollowing and muting and deleting a lot. And even ads that come up, like they just throw ads at you. And I like hide it. Like I don't want to see that. So I spend a lot of time just making sure that my information that I take in is serving me, for my higher good. And finally, I think I said this though, but like my life is slower. It's slower. And I feel like I'm out of the pressure cooker. And ease, shout out to Stephanie, ease is able to come through my door and be a part of my life. And I was telling Honey, I was like, you gotta stop, because she's very task oriented, and I'm not. And thank goodness she is. And I'm, because sometimes if she wouldn't do it, some things will not get done. But she does it to a detriment. And I more so like prioritize: does it need to be done right now? Can it wait? Can they wait? Um, Things don't need a response right away or at all sometimes. And even no response is a response. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Sorry it was a little bit long, but I wanted to just kind of be really clear about how leaving the United States saved my life, because I knew that if I did not, I was going to die. And it wasn't the fact that I was going to like unalive myself. It was the pressure of everything is killing me. And my body started to retaliate between like, I don't suffer from headaches, but I get tension headaches when I'm stressed. So I was experiencing a lot of tension headaches. My blood pressure was elevated, and I've never suffered with high blood pressure. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna be like my mama got it, and my daddy got it, so I'm gonna get it too. I'm gonna make some changes. And so it was that. So I encourage you to do the same. Just kind of think about how you can begin to do things in your life that will help ease. And hopefully, this will be of, some insight to you. And, always like, share, and subscribe, and share this information with somebody that you feel that it could help. And, you know, thank you for being here. And once again, my name is Tracie, and all of my links are below. I'm easy to get in contact with, kind of. All right, bye.